Hello and welcome to session 3 of Unit 3 Public Sector Budgeting. In this session, we'll be looking at a medium-term expenditure framework and long-term development plans of Ghana. Right, so now the budget as presented by the Minister of Finance is always presented not in isolation. It is presented with the appropriation bill, of course, and also some other items. One of these items include the medium-term plans of the government, that's the medium-term expenditure framework of the government, how the government sees to raise revenue in the medium term, and how they also see to expend some of these resources that they've donated in the next 2 to 3 years. So by the end of the session, we should be able to explain Ghana's medium-term expenditure framework. We should also be able to outline the objectives of the framework and also provide the key text of the framework over 12 months budget cycle, and also understand how Ghana prepares its medium-term expenditure framework. Let's begin with understanding what the medium-term expenditure framework is. So sometimes mostly we refer to it as MTEF, that's a medium-term expenditure framework. So this is a rolling process. It's not something that we discard, say, subsequently when we come up with a new one. No. So if the government decides in 2020 to go by this particular expenditure plan for the next 2 years, that particular plan holds even though there is another budget next year. So they just update the budget for like in that order. So this year we have this 2 years plan. Next year, if we get there, we add another year to the 1 year left for it to become another 2 years. So that's how the MTEF runs. So the MTEF is basically the expenditures for the present financial year and 2 following years. So every year we keep updating the MTEF, right? So every year when there's a budget, they update the MTEF in that order. We do not discard what has been done previously and let's do another MTEF. No, it doesn't work that way. So it's a rolling process repeated every year and aims at reducing the imbalance between what is affordable and what is demanded by line ministries. So that's basically the objective of the MTEF, right? So these are some features of the MTEF. Since it's a 3-year spending plan, although only the single upcoming fiscal year is voted on by Parliament, each year the government presents numbers for the following 2 years as well. So they submit this particular one, but then we only approve the current year's budget. But then this one also is kept in the budget for us to know what to expect in the coming years in terms of government expenditure plans. Okay, so we can look at the main aims or the objectives of the medium-term expenditure framework. We are saying it is to ensure that the utilization of resources at the central government level are linked to national priorities. Now, this MTEF is based on the priorities of the country. So, if we prepare MTEF for 2020, which is based on the priority of the country, mind you, when the next year comes, we are not going to adjust this particular thing, or we are not going to change it that much, right? So it is going to actually make the government to live by the main objectives or the main priorities of the country, because this is on the basis for which the MTEF was prepared. The MTEF is also to ensure that the attainment of sectorial or organizational objective fits smoothly into the overall achievement of national plans and objectives. Now, if we get to the latter part, we will be looking at the approaches to the whole MTEF process. You will see that it is more of a bottom up approach, where those are the agency levels, and then the individual district levels give input to this particular expenditure framework. So it helps them in that regard. Now, these are the key tasks over a 12-month budget cycle. So the MTEF, as we prepare the budget for a 12-month, the MTEF also has some key taxes over this 12-month period. So the first from 9 to 12 months, we are seeing that the government of Ghana sets out national strategic priorities, and MDA set out sector strategies. The Ministry of Finance prepares the macro fiscal framework with input from other agencies. As I said, they take input from the various agencies and then the various lower political areas in order to develop this MTEF. From the 6 to 9 months period, the cabinet reviews and endorses the budget framework strategy paper, right? So as from the first 3 months, we are seeing that they actually look at bringing together the document and stuff, but then after that, the cabinet will review this document and seek to endorse this document. But the budget guidelines are disseminated to the various MDAs. Now, the last 3 to 6 months. I said MDA submissions are reviewed by the Ministry of Finance during the technical hearings. MDAs align their budget proposals with program-based budget and MTF. So these inputs from the various MDAs are then further discussed at the Ministry of Finance level, where they review it during the technical hearings and then update the macroeconomic framework. Then they prepare the final MTF and the budget. Right? So the last period, I think the final estimates are submitted to Parliament, and then MDAs may begin to prepare their annual budget. Right? So basically, this the MTF tax for a 12-month period. So it also runs through the same budget processes. So as the budgets are being prepared, the MTFs are prepared along with it. Right? We don't prepare the budget and then come back again to prepare the MTF. No, as we are collecting input for the budget, they also collect the inputs for the MTF as well. Right? So I said we'll be looking at some of the approaches to the MTF, or the sequential process of the medium-term expenditure framework. So the first one is the top-down approach. Here, the central government looks at how to generate revenue. So the top, and that's the central government level, they will be looking at how to generate revenue in terms of tax revenue and other sources like borrowings and then donations and other grants from external parties. Right? So that's done at the top level. Then at the bottom level, that's the bottom-up approach. The various MDAs and agencies will start coming up with their various expenditure items, right? So they come up with this expenditure item based on the needs of the citizens in these constituencies or the districts or the people that they are assigned to, right? So after that, remember, there is always there is this situation where the expenditure needs of the people might exceed the resources available, right? So then comes the reconciliation stage. So at the reconciliation stage here, the government of Ghana try to align the expenditure from the various units and agencies to the resources that we have available, right? So here they try to reconcile the expenditure. How much should we then give if we are not able to provide for the entire expenditure amount that they are seeking? So this is done at the reconciliation stage, right? So we are basically done with this session. So we've looked at the MTF and then the main objective of the MTF, and then we've also discussed the MTF sequential process. So we can use some few minutes to recap what we have discussed, and if there is anything you need further clarification on, you can go back to read on it and get clarity before moving on.